Good morning. Welcome to One Lonely Farmer. All right, so here's the story. I didn't videotape anything that I'm going to put up on YouTube on Christmas because everybody and their brother's been like, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, you know, that's it. I'm not doing that. So today's video is going to be rather interesting, and it's going to put the naysayers and the jackasses along, you know, in their place. And you know what this story is going to be about? I'm going to read an article that I saw on Yahoo News. Yes, Yahoo News. I'm an old man. I listen and look at Yahoo News. And yes, this cup is actually almost the size of my head. I have coffee now. So here's what the title of this thing is. It says, heavy road salt use in winter is a growing problem, scientists say. Hey, I guess I'm a scientist now. Isn't that amazing? Scientist Wesley Panday. Okay, so I'm going to read this. Ready? While Americans may dream of a white Christmas, living with snow the rest of the season and driving a nightmare salt habit. God, my tongue is twisted. Terrible. Terrible. Each year, Americans spread more than 48 billion pounds of salt in roadways to ward off the effects of winter weather. But it comes at a cost. De-icing salt degrades roads, bridges, contaminates drinking water, and harms the environment, according to the slate of scientists expressing growing alarm, i.e. OLF. Okay, the issue of road salt has been out in front of us for decades, but they received very little attention until the past 5 years, said Rick Relaya, a biological scientist at Rensselaer Polytechnical Institute near Albany, New York. Albany. Then we see, my goodness, it is everywhere, and it is a growing problem. The problem that's growing exponentially. The country used about 164,000 tons of road salt in 1940. U.S. Geological Survey data shows it broke 1 million tons in 1954, 10 million tons in 1985, and now averages more than 24 million tons of salt per year. I'm telling you, this is in the Bible, about salting the earth of your enemies to destroy their food supplies. I'm pretty sure it's in there. I remember the verse. I don't remember the chapter, the verse, and everything else. While salt helps keep roads clear in winter, it doesn't just disappear with the snow. Some melts into rivers, lakes, and even water supplies. The portion that remains on roadway eats away the pavement and bridges. It does the same to pipes that carry drinking water, causing lead contamination. You guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, lead contamination. In some places, too much salt in the environment can kill small organisms and change the sex of frogs. I wonder if frogs sit on their lily pad and say, I wish I was a girl. Let's eat some salt. I doubt it. Too much coffee, I'm telling you. We have only recently begun to recognize the serious long-term consequences of excessive road salt, said Mark Edwards, a Virginia Tech corrosion expert who helped uncover the lead drinking water crisis in Flint, Michigan. So maybe that's from salt. Okay, the Northeast is a top contributor. Clear Roads, a national consortium that researchers and promote winter road maintenance solutions, tracks how much road salt state government use every year. All top are 5 New England states that use the most salt per mile of road lanes. Over the past 4 years, Rhode Island, 44.2 tons, Massachusetts, 34.6 tons, New York, 28.0 tons, New Hampshire, 25.1 tons, and Vermont, 23.3 tons. Connecticut and Maine also fall in the top 10, while Pennsylvania ranks 13th, Maryland 16th, Delaware 23rd. New Jersey hasn't contributed data because they're the worst sons of bitches out there. I live in that state. When the salt is dried that thick, I was waiting for where New Jersey was. But you know what? We're serious polluters of the waterways, New Jersey is. I've seen it. Hasn't contributed any data since 2014 and 2015, but the 42 tons it used per mile These guys are telling me 100 pounds per mile. Give me a fucking break. 100 pounds is like salt on your eggs in the morning. But in between 2014 and 2015, 42 tons per mile is what New Jersey put on their roadways. Wow. Wow. Would place it near the top. And that's just the salt we know about. Clear Roads data tracks only state government salt uses in private businesses and parking lots on or residential driveways and sidewalks, and by the cities isn't captured. So, think about this. Many experts believe private industry could be using more salt than government, but no one is tracking that. Well, it's kind of like, I'm going to detract here, it's kind of like the lawn services that use more fertilizer per square foot than top producing agriculturalists like, Millennial Farmer. We'll use him because we just love Millennial Farmer so much. He's doing a good job up there in Minnesota. And, how many pounds per square inch of fertilizer do you put? Probably not even one. But in New Jersey, I have never seen the gates on any fertilizer spreader open as much, even while putting down potash at 400 pounds to the acre. Yes, I've done that on soybeans, but as I've seen on these Green Thumb lawn care trucks, they dump it on. They dump it on at the rate of about 600 pounds per acre. 600 to 800 pounds per acre is what I was told by someone that is in that field. Because I was curious. I pulled over and I asked the guy, so how much are you putting down? It's all between 600 and 800 pounds to the acre. Usually we go between, he says if a household is 2 acres lots, which is pretty common here in New Jersey, 2 acres, we will put, between 1,000 to 1,600 pounds, depending on, the shrubbery and everything else and how much they have, trees, shrubbery, and stuff like that. But an open 2-acre lot, they're looking at 1,600 pounds of fertilizer, between 1,200 and 1,600 pounds of fertilizer, which is more than 600 pounds per acre. I didn't have the heart to tell them that the house actually sits on that lot. So anyways, but that's just the way that is. Private, people want their driveways to be whistle clean, and you can tell the people that put the most salt on their driveways, on the paved driveways anyway, because they're the ones that have their driveways seal coated about every 3 years. And the ones that don't seal coat it will spread dirt or stone right over top of them after about 5 years of salt application on those very expensive paved driveways. So I'll get back to, now let me get back to this article. In the U.S., using salt to de-ice roadways is a technique dating to at least the late 1930s. There's some mystery as to who did it first. Some say Detroit, others New Hampshire. There's less mystery about the chemistry. Road salt typically consists of sodium and chloride. Sodium chloride is salt, you dumbasses. While sodium is less water-soluble and lodges in the soil, the vast majority of the chloride washes away with the rain. Given the amount of salt used in the roads, it's a real problem. Hilary Dugan, a professor at the Integrative Biology at University of Wisconsin-Madison, said 2017 study by the team found that nearly half of the 284 freshwater lakes in their sample in the Northeast and Midwest had undergone long-term salinization. 1 in 10 of them reached the threshold where scientists worry about the impact on aquatic life. I didn't do that research, so all you guys and gals that say that I'm a jackass and don't know what I'm talking about, that whole thread that went for like 18 comments about how stupid I am and how I make people dumber by speaking. I try to make it fun, but it is what it is. In 2017, it's so cold out the dog froze. Sharks died and road salt is useless. Road salt alternatives. We use millions of tons of salt to melt ice from roads. Is there a better way? Well, yes, I think there is. Cinders, grit, sand. That would work in my opinion. Making matters worse, Dugan's team found that chloride levels in lakes rose when just 1% of the adjacent land was developed. More than a quarter of the large lakes nationwide fit that profile, and the problem is worse in crowded states such as Rhode Island, where 83% of the lakes are urban. Wow. It was just so obvious that when the lake was near any kind of urban environment, the chloride concentration tended to be going up, Dugan said. Relia studies that what that means for aquatic life. Even moderately salty waters can kill zooplankton, the tiny aquatic creatures at the bottom of the food chain that he said help make lake function properly. Their absence can lead to worsening algae blooms. At higher concentrations, Relia's work shows that salt can alter the sex of tadpoles population, making them 10% more male. That's not so bad. Only 10% more, so if it's a 50-50 deal. There's a lot less females out there. It's 40-60 now. A bunch of gay frogs. Transgendered frogs. That's what it is. We've got transgendered frogs from salt. I can tell. It also can stunt the growth of fish, like rainbow trout. We all love those, leaving them more vulnerable to predators. What this means for wildlife up the food chain needs more study. Well, they're just getting salt on their food. Yeah, it's not a terrible thing, is it? Yes, it is. There's much less out there on what salt does to the ecosystem, Relia said. There are all kinds of potential cascading effects. Catastrophic risk from road salt is the next chapter of this thing. If sex-changing frogs don't concern you, this might. A Washington State University professor estimates that the country spends $5 billion a year on infrastructure damages caused by road salt. Wow. And it might not nearly be enough. Due to its chemical properties, road salt can exacerbate the damage. Wow, I had to work hard on that one. Roads already suffer each winter when a repeated freeze and thaw. The effect expands, cracks the surface, said Xiaoming Shi, a professor at Civil Environmental Engineering, who wrote a book on the subject. Were you naked under those clothes?
No.
Yes, you were.
Under those clothes,
Yeah, that's the one. Sustainable winter road operations. She called the effects on concrete bridges especially shocking, because road salt, particularly an alternative variety of magnesium chloride, can slowly leach calcium out of concrete in bridges, as well as roads and sidewalks. It's like when people age, their bones lose calcium and get brittle and are more likely to crack, she said. It's a very similar situation with the concrete. While working on the Oregon Department of Transportation, Shee's analysis found that some bridge decks, even though they were highly rated upon visual inspection, had lost 40% of their strength. At the very least, she said, it means expensive maintenance may be needed more frequently. At worst, it means the load-bearing capacity could be compromised. She said, Well, if I was going to say shit, I'd be S-H-I-T, so this is shit. She said, which could lead to some catastrophic failures. Unfortunately, he added, it's a man. Okay, we may not see any visible symptoms before it is too late. Corroding water pipes. Motorists may have more familiar with other chemical traits of road salt. Its corrosiveness. Chloride can eat away at a car's undercarriage or any other exposed metal and cause corrosion and rust. A study by AAA found that road salt could be costing car owners as much as $3 billion annually in repair costs. For the same reason, road salt threatens pipes it carries drinking water. As I just say, when chloride levels outnumber their specific substances in water, they corrode metal. Toxic lead can flake off into the drinking water. A federal study last year found U.S. monitoring stations in snowy and urban areas had higher chloride levels, and that as they increased, so did the chance of a nearby water system had violated federal lead standards. Wouldn't want to do that too much now, would we? High chloride ratios in Flint River contributed to Michigan's lead drinking water crisis, and the same problem impacts smaller systems across the country as well, said Edwards, the expert who helped uncover Flint's drinking water problem. In 2015, he consulted the Public Works Office officials in Brick, New Jersey, not far from here. They found that road salt contributed to corrosion and high lead levels in the township's drinking water. Once identified, proper adjustments were made to the water treatment plant to fix the problem. More filters. I think there's reverse osmosis there as well. The problem encountered in Brick could occur in any of the thousands of public water systems across the country where road salt is used. Edwards said, adding the local water departments often don't understand the risk of high chloride levels. The Romans allegedly salted the earth to vanquish their enemies. Yes, it's in there. That's awesome. Thank you. And we now do the same to ourselves at a once unthinkable scale, Edwards said. Okay, I am correct. Thank you. The Romans allegedly salted the earth to vanquish their enemies. I was in like third freaking grade when that came about in my mind. But anyways, I'm so proud of myself. America's addiction to road salt, the acid rain of our time, can be cured, said Eric Sy, S-I-Y, the executive director of the Fund for Lake George, a nonprofit supporting scientific effort in the lake in upstate New York. My daughter lives like 20 minutes from there now. Beautiful area. I went snowmobiling there once. They really don't like salt on their roads. They like snowmobiles on their roads. At least it was that way in 1993 when I was up there tearing up the trails. Local towns now use live-edge snowplows that conform to the shape of the road and can significantly reduce the salt use. Salt trucks use GPS and special software to track routes, salt dispersal, increasing efficiency. Localized weather forecasts help indicate the need so that the trucks using the brine solution can pre-treat roads and reduce overall salt use. That brine is magnesium chloride. You just said in the damn thing up there that it's no fucking good. Oh, whatever. Sy says it's already seeing results with the salt use in some plow trucks falling by more than 40%. Following Sy's model, the tiny town of Hague, New York, reduced its salt use by 22% in 2 years, saving $38,000. There you go. Where else did they put it, though? They really don't, and I'm going to digress here, but they really don't want to save too much money in their salt use, because if they don't use the salt this year that they did the year before, they dump it on before the end of the year because it affects their budget for the product. And then if, say, next year, and this is how the government works, they're just wonderful people, you know how smart they are. They won't issue the funds for next year because they're like, oh, you didn't use nearly as much salt last year as you did the year before, so we're going to take that away. And then it takes a month or two before you can get them to actually give you the budget for the salt. And that's when people die because they're so used to driving on salted roads that, you know, they don't know how to drive on snow. I say we put grit, cinders. We don't have much steel industry here anymore, but we can use grit. You know, there's quarries. All the quarry screenings, they come in like little 1/8-inch chips. That should work. Quarry screenings. That would work. They use that in the summertime now. Can you believe it? In the summertime, when it's like 1,000 degrees out and the tar bubbles up, oh, and you get the little tar babies on top, you know, the little bubbles go boop, boop, boop. Well, heavy equipment, tractors, balers, mowers, will peel the road surface up. So that my township has actually decided to put that road grit in, and then they'll spread that on top when it's really hot, and it takes away the stickiness of the tar. Okay, we're not putting anybody on Mars here, says Sy said. We're simply reducing the use of salt. Economic arguments are crucial to getting by in Laura Fay, a research scientist at Montana State University, Western Transportation Institute, who has been pushing states and local governments for more than a decade to make similar improvements. Maybe your state budget has been decreasing every single year, Fay said. So you're trying to do the same or a better job with less money. That's honestly what a lot of these agencies are facing right now. Clear Road's data shows winter maintenance is expensive. New York tops the list in both overall cost, $373 million a year from 2015 to 18. The cost per lane mile is $8,451. $8,451 worth of salt? 15, 16, 17, 18, 4 freaking years? 3 years? That's New York. Pennsylvania is second in total at 200. What? That doesn't make any sense. Per lane mile, 8,451. Pennsylvania is second in total cost at $246.8 million, while our 4 New England states round. There's wrong. That doesn't make sense. Massachusetts, $7,255. Vermont, $4,697. New Hampshire, $4,815. And Maine at $4,148. Faye recommends a few simple steps to road crews to limit salt use and its impact. Cover salt piles to protect them from precipitation and calibrate equipment to ensure proper salt distribution. Then they can consider new approaches like the ones in Lake George, while returning on investment varies. Both Cy and Faye say most solutions pay for themselves within several years. Tracking the use of road salt by private companies poses a bigger hurdle. Well, you have to sign for it when you go buy it. That's how you. It's not a bigger hurdle. It's what they did in the fertilizer plants. If you're a homeowner or a lawn care professional, you have to sign for it. As the practice is most entirely unregulated, some states are trying, such as New Hampshire, which in 2013 introduced a program that trains private operators on best practices in exchange for liability protection. But the cheapest fix to American unhealthy road salt diet is also the most inclusive, reducing the public's demand for clear roadways. We, as a driving public, need to change our expectations to something closer to reality, Faye said. If you don't need to drive to work, or to the movies, or to the mall, then just don't go. And I'm going to add to this real quick before I sign off. In 1985, we didn't even have a home computer. There was no, well, I lie. We actually had a home computer, but it was used for the business. I had a few small little games on there. We had to entertain ourselves, and in a snowstorm, we had sleds. We had, things like that. Today we have computers, we have iPhones, Samsungs, we've got streaming music, we got streaming movies, we got streaming everything. You do not need to go. We have awesome refrigerators and freezers that are very efficient. We have generators in a lot of our rural households here, and we really don't need to worry about, oh my God, milk, eggs, and butter. Milk, eggs, and bread. I need butter. Oh, I forgot the soda. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, today's society has become so dependent on their automobiles, and they're so stupid in how they drive. And I also think that these new driving technologies with this proximity sensors and these automatic braking cars for, on the cruise control option. Ford has their 360 deal, which I'm looking at a car now. So it's like, oh my God, this makes people so incredibly stupid. It really does, because they're not even looking. They're not even looking because their car says beep, 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 turn to the left. Some of these even have an assist, which will turn the car away from the obstacle you're next to. And William is getting upset. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed listening to me stutter as I read, and you can make fun of me down in the comment section below. But I was right, and some of you were wrong. So kiss my white ass if you were picking on me. Good day.